had mentioned this earlier, and I completely agree with you. Just the different rooms I've been in since my playing days were over. Uh, whatever reason, it seems like athletes. And again, you played it at the highest level, being in NFL. But it seems like whether it's collegiate or the NFL, or even to a certain extent, like a high school athletes, uh, the, they always are looked at maybe a little bit more favorable when you're talking about like the business world. And it seems like definitely having that discipline and kind of being self motivators and all that stuff plays a part in all that. You talked about earlier how uh like being an athlete or whatnot will get your foot in the door, but it's kind of it may don't sustain you once you get in the door. There has to be more to it, or who you are is going to sustain you once you get in the door. Why do you think like athletes they have a tough time transitioning from life after whatever their sport is? Because it seems like these can be set up like just so great for them as relates to everything that they have experienced up until that point in their life. But it seems like a lot of times athletes they have a difficult time making that transition. And it seems like obviously you have been able to kind of pivot or reinvent yourself in a way that uh, I mean, it didn't slow you down. I know for me, as I was coming to Michigan State, I understood that, watching the Le'Veon Bells and Edwin Bakers and the Capers and even the Javon Rings, I'm like, okay, it's another level to an NFL athlete that I didn't possess. I was good enough to be a collegiate athlete, but I was nowhere near NFL athlete. Uh, but so yeah, what makes you? Why is that, in your opinion? Why do you think that's like a difficult transition to make for a lot of athletes, especially coming from the NFL or just the professional ranks?
I don't think it's a difficult transition just for athletes. I think it's a difficult transition for people. Just like the
Huh.
whole 70% of athletes or whatever go broke after they leave the league. Like,
Yeah.
you could say things for people who win the lottery. You could say the same things for anybody who gets that amount of money that early, and then they lose their job in 3 years or 4 years, and they don't have another career after that. So we see it all the time. We see some of the richest people in the world in other industries go broke or go bankrupt. So I think it's just a highlight, or people highlight athletes because we are in the spotlight.
Yeah.
Transition is difficult for anybody and everybody, regardless. If you see the CEO of whatever company who's been in that position for 20 years and they're looking to transition to something else, or they're looking to retire, they struggle with it too.
Hmm.
So I think it's just the loss of logo. We call it the LOL syndrome. It's that loss of logo. You don't have that logo behind you. You've been doing this for a long time. You built your identity into this, and the transition is tough because you've been doing this for a long time. And
That's true.
transition is hard regardless in life, in business, relationships, whatever it may be. I think athletes just get highlighted because we've been put on a pedestal in terms of everybody sees you on TV. They get to see you in your life, especially in Instagram now. They get to see your life in real time. And that's what's different in from the professional world to the corporate world. They don't actually see the CEO who's struggling with the transition, or this person who just built this business and sold it for $1 billion and now they're struggling with the transition. They don't know what to do next. I think it's everybody struggles with that. Athletes are just at the forefront of it.
Yeah.
And it's just a hard thing because you put your blood, sweat, and tears into something for your whole life, and now it's done. And because you were so focused, you didn't take time to actually think about what could actually possibly be next. Where I was fortunate, like I said at the beginning, is the pandemic kind of put us all on the same playing field in terms of, like, you didn't know if you were going to play. So what are you going to do next?
Right.
And I think that is one of the things where I just had that self-awareness. And then I always, give credit to my parents. My parents always said, like, football is going to come to an end one day. And they would always harp on that, like, especially in the off season. Hey, what are you doing? Regress your life further without football.